Hi folks, been several months since my last video, so I thought I'd provide my friends and family with an update on how I'm doing with my military transition, my military retirement. So as you can see from the beard, I'm doing pretty well. I'm 21 days into a 70-day transition leave. I accepted a job offer in Kansas City, which is near where I work or where I currently live. And we were supposed to start working last week, but with the kids, they're getting out of school here soon, and my wife and I decided it's the perfect opportunity for us to take a family vacation. We haven't been on one since COVID, so we're going to take a family vacation, and then I'm going to start working next week. And lucky for me, my new boss, really the whole team where I'll be working, they're family oriented, so they are very okay with me taking that time that I need and then coming to work next month. It has been a long transition and it's been a stressful one. So I wanted to provide a few lessons learned, a couple of things that I've discovered along the way for my friends and my family so they know what I've been through. And then for anyone else who may get some use from it, here are 5 things that I learned during my military retirement. So number 5, transition 20 is real. Those 20 pounds that people talk about putting on, I thought, no way, no way am I going to put on, 20 pounds or more. But once I started my fellowship back in January, really ever since Thanksgiving of last year, physical training it's just kind of fallen to the bottom of my list of priorities. Other things have taken priority, and I haven't been working out regularly. And you couple not working out regularly, not making a priority, and then adding the stress of retirement, the stress of the unknown, it really put the weight on quick. So I recommend for everyone, if you're looking at retiring or transition from the military, keep physical training at the top of your priority list. Make a deliberate effort, make a priority to do physical training when you transition. Try to keep that weight off. So now I definitely make some time for it, and I'm definitely doing some PT. So number 4, TAP, Transition Assistance Program. Shocker, it is not going to prepare you for your retirement. The only thing that can prepare you for retirement that I've learned through this process is going through the process. I watched YouTube videos, I looked at people's LinkedIn profiles and read articles and talk to people and really you get some good information from all that stuff, but you're not going to figure this stuff out until you just get your hands dirty. Just go out there and get your hands dirty. TAP for me, it put me in the right mindset. It helped me look at things with a transitioning service member lens. It helped me to do the job searching, resume writing, networking that you need to do, but it did not really prepare me in and of itself. So I'd recommend to look at TAP as a single brick, right? It's a single brick in the foundation of your transition. Number 3, resume writing is subjective. It's very, very subjective. People want to see different things. Different recruiters, different hiring managers, different companies, they all have something different they're looking for. There's chronological resumes, functional resumes, 1 pages versus 2 pages, cover letters, no cover letters, fonts galore, everything that you can think of, it's all subjective. So you should probably develop a master resume, but you're going to have multiple versions of this resume, depending on the industry that you're getting into, what you're trying to do. Where I had the most luck and the most callbacks was on a 1-page formatted resume. And it's exactly what TAP said not to do. Not to use one of the templates, not to use one of the ones with columns in it that has skills and stuff on one side and your experience on the other side. So quick story, during my internship, I applied to a position at the place I was interning, and I got an automated rejection email after a week or so after applying. And I had met the recruiter, so I reached out to her and asked her, hey, can you talk me through what I did wrong? And she hadn't even remembered seeing my resume in the stack of resumes. And the first thing she said was, well, now that I'm looking at your resume, why didn't you put that you worked here on your resume? And I said, it's the first thing on the second page. And she said, oh, on the second page. The recruiter hadn't even looked at the second page of my resume. And I'd met this woman. Like, we'd had conversations. and she went with someone else, probably someone with a one-page resume that she could skim through, see that met the requirements, and she probably referred them for an interview. So this 20-something-year-old, fairly new, fresh out of college, young lady, she offered to provide me some assistance with my resume. She sat down and did a one-page. She used one of the templates, like one of the Microsoft Word resume templates. It's exactly what TAP tells you not to do. That's what she did. And as soon as I started submitting that to jobs, boom, started getting emails, started getting text messages. Matter of fact, in my first draft of that, my email address was wrong because we were in such a hurry. And even though my email address was wrong, recruiters started texting me or calling me and saying, hey, I got a kickback on your email, but I want you to come in for an interview. So take a look at the one-page resume. Sometimes less is more. Keep that in mind. Number 2, networking is a must. That's no surprise. I don't think everyone preaches it. Everyone talks about TAP. They talk about it. It's never been a surprise that LinkedIn and making connections is one of the most important things that you can do. But you don't truly understand the importance of it until you're doing it. And for the job that I'm actually taking, that I'm going to start here next month, what I did was I went to LinkedIn and I just searched for prior service members that worked at that organization. And then as I started finding them, I would send them a message and just say, hey, I'm transitioning from the military. I'd love to learn from you. I want to work there. And just started making connections, coffee dates, informational interviews, buy a guy a beer, let me find out some information. And then before you know it, I was getting referred to jobs from these guys. And I had 10 to 15 connections on LinkedIn in the company. So when recruiters start looking at me, I'm not just a random guy off the street that's applying to this. I have 10 or 15 connections. That means I have some kind of connection to the organization itself. So that's a way to be successful, and it's very, very important. So the number one thing that I've learned from my transition and for the whole transition process is focus on the things that you can control. And it took me a while to realize that. It took me a while for me to realize that I needed to focus on those things. I just really kept submitting resumes and looking for interviews, and because I wanted a job early, even months before I actually needed one. I wanted someone to say, yeah, we want you. We'll wait 6 months. And that's just not going to happen. So instead of brooding over your computer and continuously getting those rejection emails, I'm not saying don't apply, but look at things that you can control, so you don't get disheartened over the process. Part of this in the military, we get PCS orders in the military 6 months out or sometimes more. So we know what we're going to do next year. We know what we're going to do 6 months from now. And in the civilian world, these companies are hiring for next week, not next year. So if you're not available, next week or in a month, then they're not really looking for you. So just don't let the process dishearten you. Take care of the things and focus on the things that you can control. So things that I did, right? I volunteered at my church to serve on the parish council. So I'm a council member at my church, and I volunteer at any church event that I have time to volunteer at. That's something they need help with, something I can provide, and it helps me, stay connected to my community. Another thing that I did is I actually took a seasonal job at Home Depot. There's a Home Depot right down the road. They're looking for folks, especially during the spring season. They got the garden center that's hopping and popping, and they were really struggling to find folks that wanted to work, folks that wanted to come in and just toss mulch, like toss dirt, drive a forklift, and hey, being outside away from my computer, doing some PT, getting after that number 5 thing that I was talking about, that 20 pounds, right? So just doing some manual labor, getting some extra PT, driving some heavy equipment. I lost some of that weight fairly quickly. I get to talk to people, make connections within the community, and it's a paying job. I only work, 10 hours a week or something like that, and I can take off whenever I want. And I don't depend on the income, but it's something that you can do as you're waiting for that next career move, right? Finally, I've just been working on projects. I started working on growing microgreens. I grow microgreens in my basement. My son wanted to plant some seeds, so we set up some grow lights and we planted plant starts. We sold tomato plants, we sold hot peppers, sweet peppers, and other vegetable starts here in the spring. We did pretty good. My kids learned a lot, but that's just something that you can devote a little bit of time to. Take time away from the unknown and the transition process. I've gone to Home Depot to buy all the wood and metal and all that stuff. That's really how I found that job in the first place. But I've been working a lot more in the garage through this transition process. I bought an Army Corps of Engineers boat trailer off an auction site. It shows how much time I have on my hands. I bought this old boat trailer and I welded it and painted it, and I turned it into a utility trailer. And maybe I'll post a video of that whole process. But wrap that up. I just bought an old tractor that I'm going to fix up, and that tractor is going to get after some of our goals, our family goals coming next year. Maybe we'll post some videos of that. But the moral of the story is, I think, focus on the things that you can control, and stop worrying so much about the things that you can't. Not saying don't put effort in those, but don't get bent around the axle. Pray where you can, and do the best you can, and just make connections. So I hope this video helps somebody. I learned a lot through this whole process, and anybody that I can help that I know that's getting ready to transition, I'm going to. So I still have 45 days left in the Army. We'll see how bushy my beard gets in the next 45 days before I get my retirement ID card. But maybe I'll make another video after that, give an update on how things are going. But take care.